All right, guys, I did it. I took advantage of the Neiman Marcus 15% off sale that took place last week up until a few days ago, Monday. 15% off all fragrances, which is rare. They don't do it often, but they finally did it. And even though I was planning on buying a few other fragrances, I ended up buying this fragrance right here. It's Tom Ford's Black Orchid Reserve, which is part of the signature line. This is the OG bottle right here. This is the Parfum. Also, there's been an Eau de Toilette a couple times, and I think there's been an Oud version, and then there was also a Lalique bottle version. Now we've got the Reserve. And again, as I said, this is part of the signature line, but they put this also in a private blend collection bottle. So the 100 ml comes in a bottle like this in the signature line, and the 250 ml bottle comes in the private blend decanter bottles. And I was told when I was buying this that there is a special edition atomizer that you get with the 250 ml, but they didn't have it yet. So they gave me one of the old ones because, you know, you can't really spray these bottles. So they gave me one of the old ones, and I'm still going to get the actual Black Orchid Reserve Atomizer when that comes in. I don't know when that's going to come in, but I was very excited about this. I actually saw the bottle images online. Before I saw the bottle images online, I reported on it. I mentioned that this is coming, but before this was supposed to drop, there was supposed to be Orange Taormina. We still do not have that one. God knows what happened to that. I'm hoping it'll still come. Is it delayed? Something happened? We don't know. And then after this, there's one more fragrance, I believe, coming this year from this house called Oud Voyager. And I've got a sample, and I'm going to tell you about that as well. That's going to be after the outro. So in this video, I'm going to open this up, decant it into here. Sadly, I did not bring a pipette, so I'm going to have to pause the video and go grab one. And then I'm going to spritz it on and tell you all about it. So this is Tom Ford's Black Orchid Reserve. It's a 2025 launch. Most likely this is a limited edition, which they've done in the past. As I mentioned, there was an Oud version before, which I never got my nose on. There was a Lalique bottle special edition that I haven't seen. Would have been great to collect. But, you know, I'm a collector and I love these decanter bottles, and I wanted to have one of these. I also want one of the signature line bottles of the Black Orchid Reserve. We'll see if I can find a deal on that one. But I wanted to start with this one. So it's a 2025 launch. It's considered an amber floral fragrance, and it's Parfum concentration. So this is super concentrated. And even though we've got Parfum here, the fragrances do smell different. And I'm also going to do a little bit of differences smell here on camera with some strips. The OG was created by Dave Apel and Pierre Negrin, according to the online databases. But the Black Orchid Reserve has notes of Black Orchid Accord, Patchouli, Ghost Orchid Accord, Roasted Tonka, Black Truffle Accord, Ylang Extra, and Timut Pepper. These were taken down from the Tom Ford website. The Neiman Marcus website only listed 3 notes, so I decided to go there and take the notes down and see what it's all about. So here it is. Let's open this up and show you what this one's all about. It's a gorgeous bottle. I really, really love the bottle. For me, I'm about the bottles. I'm a collector of bottles. As you can see, I've got a growing collection of bottles here, 6,000 plus bottles now. Might have to move out of this studio very soon because I'm running out of space with bottles. And I also do studio consultations and sniff sessions here. People come in and we sit down and we do like a questionnaire prior, and then we gather a ton of fragrances and we smell them in 2-hour sessions. So it's a fun little thing. I don't do it full time. It's just mostly my followers that want to do it. And if I have time, and I have all the information online if you're curious to do that. It's a fun session. Recently, we had a former singer who was on MTV in the early 90s come in, and she actually really enjoyed animalic fragrances. So we gathered a ton of animalic fragrances and weird fragrances for her to check out. But yeah, the sessions are fun. And again, they're custom for each person after a questionnaire happens. But yeah, I'm a collector, if you haven't noticed that. Not only do I collect new releases like this, but also vintage and classic fragrances. If I can get my hands on vintage fragrances, of course, I'm going to snatch them up if I get a great deal on them and things like that. So I was very excited about this bottle, so I'm happy to have it, especially at a discount. There was a 15% off promotion at Neiman Marcus. And those are the best times for you guys to take advantage of brand new releases, guys. Sure, these fragrances will eventually end up at discounters, so you can get them there. But for me, if I want something new, I kind of wait for a promotion. And this just launched during the promotion, so I had to snatch it up. Okay, let me read to you guys a little bit about what was written on the Tom Ford website for Black Orchid Reserve. A force of nature, Tom Ford's iconic black orchid in a deeper, darker, Chypre floral dimension. An increased dosage of ylang adds new luminosity. Its sparkling floralcy flecked with effervescent timut pepper. A blackened roasted tonka note smolders in the background, while a black truffle accord exudes an elegant earthiness. The rich woody quality of patchouli mingles with amber tones. A study in the beauty of contrast. Light and shadow discover they are one in this transformative fragrance. Tom Ford's prize-winning floral scent meets the phantom-like Ghost Orchid Accord in this amplified dimension of Black Orchid. Keynotes: Black Orchid Accord, Patchouli, Ghost Orchid Accord, Roasted Tonka, Black Truffle Accord, Ylang Extra, and Timut Pepper. All right, so let's look at the bottle. I've spoken quite a bit. You know, they've gone all out with this box. It's got these like ribbing, like it's not like smooth. So they've kind of added a lot of extra luxurious touches, I should say, because this is the first time I'm noticing the box having those kind of ridges all up and down. Of course, the TF is on top here. On the back, we've got all the necessary information. And right up here, it does say Parfum right there, as you can see. What's on the bottom? Basically the scan code. And the bottle itself is the same kind of, as you can see right there. Really gorgeous bottle, don't you think? What do you think? I absolutely love this bottle. It's too beautiful. So let's go ahead and open it up. I did pause the video and grab a pipette. And let's open this up. So if you ever buy a decanter bottle from Tom Ford, make sure to ask for this. You know, I bought them in the future and haven't gotten them. And all of a sudden, when they mentioned to me there's a special atomizer I'm supposed to get with this, I'm like, well, why haven't you guys been giving me those atomizers? Because at one time they told me they no longer give them. So I think these sales associates kind of lie, because not the sales associate that sold me, but one of the other sales associates. So I'm a little pissed off that I didn't get these little atomizers for several of my past bottles. All right, so pipette, and basically take the bottle, fill it up like that, or you pull it in with the pipette and then it goes in there like that. So I'm gonna fill this up. So I did sample this one time. I don't recall the black truffle being in the original, or was it? I can't remember. But sure, they've gone all out with this. They've taken it to the next level. It's super gorgeous, really concentrated. And even though it's a flanker, we smelled this before, this is not a truly original fragrance. It's an updated version of something that already exists. I felt it was quite luxurious and super awesome to have this one in the collection, especially since also I really love the bottle. The bottle is just super gorgeous. That's all that. Yeah, they've gone all out with the bottle. And I'm a big fan of these bottles. So I'm a collector for sure, and happy to have this one. I mean, there have been some other Tom Ford fragrances that have launched, I think didn't deserve me. I mean, they didn't deserve me to have the decanter, but this one totally did, and I was all over it. So let's go ahead and spritz this on and give you some thoughts. And what I'm going to do after is spray the two other fragrances and do them side by side. But what I should also do, since I sprayed that on, I'm going to have to spray it on the strip as well. so I can have that. And while I'm waiting for the dry down on my hand, why don't I get the other fragrances ready on the strips as well. If you are a fan of Tom Ford's Black Orchid, let me know. Add a comment below. I actually, between the OG in Eau de Parfum and the Parfum, I prefer the Parfum because it had that boozy plumminess, which is quite awesome. But here, I feel like it's gotten quite earthy. And when I'm mentioning the black truffles, we're not talking about the candy sweet variety. This is like earth. We're talking about earthiness and underground. The truffles that are like so expensive in Italian food and things like that. Absolutely love truffles. Some of my favorite things to eat. I consider them to be some of the most luxurious delicacies, and it's one of my favorites. I absolutely love them on pasta. And so I like them in fragrances. And I can't recall if the black truffles was in the OG, but I do remember it in Noir de Noir, Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, which is one of my favorite fragrances from the house. But they brought it here. And here it's so earthy. And I could see that they have taken it into a Chypre floral direction. The truffles are so strong, and it adds that extra layer of earthiness there. But patchouli is also really king here. Really, that's kind of one of the reasons why I like this version. It's super concentrated and also super earthy. And again, we've got not only the patchouli's earthiness, we also have the truffles earthiness in here. I think even though they're mentioning the Black Orchid Accord, and they also have the Ghost Orchid Accord, I've smelled plenty of orchid in my lifetime. I mean, this is an accord that they've created. I don't think this is something that extract from an actual existing orchid. So it's a kind of a made up kind of a note that's in the DNA of the Black Orchid fragrances. And I think it's a really quality DNA. I think that's why it exists still today. And according to what I read, it's a prize-winning fragrance. I believe it's won some awards. And I think it's one of the longest standing fragrances from the house. It's 20 years old, right? No, it's 19 years old. Originally, it was launched in 2006. So this is launching just before the 20th anniversary of Black Orchid. But it's super potent, and I love the way it smells. I actually really like the intensity of the earthiness of the patchouli, and also the earthiness of the Black Orchid. I'm sorry, no, the black truffles. There's too many black word ingredients in this fragrance. But there is a lot of spiciness for sure. A lot of spiciness here. But even though I think we're still working with the same DNA, and I don't know if the same perfumers did work on this. Maybe they did, or maybe the brand took the formula and worked on it themselves. But Pierre Negrin is a Firmenich perfumer, and I don't think Dave Apel works at Firmenich anymore. I could be wrong. So I think the brand must be working on the formula themselves. I'm not 100% sure. Lately, I think Tom Ford also has been working a lot with Givaudan perfumers, but I feel like they started out early on with Firmenich perfumers. A lot of Firmenich perfumers, like Jacques Cavalier was mentioned. A lot of the Firmenich perfumers worked on some of the earlier Tom Ford fragrances. For example, this one with Pierre Negrin. Yeah, this is really, really awesome. I really enjoy it. And again, it's not totally different than the OG. It's not as fruity and boozy as the Parfum in the gold bottle. And again, this is also a Parfum. It's not a different concentration. I find it to be a bit more luxurious and of course super earthy, and ylang is pretty prominent here, along with the patchouli, the timut pepper, that spiciness, the earthiness of the truffles from the underground, and of course the accords of the orchid in here. So I think also the tonka beans that are in here, the roasted tonka, are providing a bit of characteristic, like sweetness, kind of lightly vanillic touches to the fragrance, but it's an addicting smell. It's really definitely has become a favorite of mine, but I feel like it could be a toss-up between the Parfum in the gold bottle versus the Reserve. And again, this is super expensive. I took advantage of it because they did have the promotion. I mean, I try to get the best deals possible. So I was going to think long and hard about this. If they didn't have a promotion, I probably would have ended up with the 100 ml, which came in a bottle like that. But the new bottle is super sexy. I absolutely love it. So I have it here. So those are my thoughts on this fragrance with a lot of other details on the Black Orchid Reserve. Let's go ahead and compare it now to the OG. I feel like the OG has a black peppery spiciness. And of course, as I was mentioning, the booziness, the plumminess is quite prominent with the Parfum in the gold. But still, all three are related, 100% related, and they are connected. It's a matter of taste, but I think you guys, I don't hear a lot of you mentioning that you're fans of Black Orchid. So let's take inventory of who's a fan of it and which version do you prefer between the Eau de Parfum or the OG Parfum, the original Parfum, which came out, I think, like 2020 or 2021. And if you are such a fan of those two, are you going to upgrade to the new Black Orchid Reserve in the new Parfum concentration? So my associate didn't tell me if this was a limited edition, so I don't know. But most of the time, these are limited edition. And I don't understand why they did this large bottle. I'm glad they did. For a collector like me, I'm glad that they did this large private blend collection bottle. But most of the time, every other time when they've launched something, a flanker of this fragrance, it's always been in a bottle like this. But going back to the two OG fragrances again, the EDP is where it all started. It does seem fresher and a bit spicier. Like there's a major pepperiness about it. And even though with the Reserve, there's a pepperiness as well. As I was mentioning, the truffle's earthiness is amped up. The ylang is amped up and the patchouli is amped up there. So I like those notes working together. And with the OG Parfum, as I said, it does have a kind of a glossy, boozy, and also fruitiness about it. And so there are differences, but once you step back, it's basically the same fragrance, just going into different directions. So it's a matter of if you want to upgrade to the Reserve or not. I'm actually digging it quite a bit. It smells super fantastic and super, super luxurious. I feel like it's actually getting a bit plummy on skin from the Reserve as well. But man, the black truffles and the patchouli and the ylang together, super, super sexy. Super sexy. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the new Tom Ford Black Orchid Reserve. What are your thoughts on this fragrance? Have you tried it yet? Are you going to stick this one out or will you get a bottle? Again, make sure to find a deal on these fragrances, but I'm really digging the new Tom Ford Black Orchid Reserve, and it just might become my favorite. I think I like the smells of both the Black Orchid Parfum in the OG Gold bottle and the Black Orchid Reserve Parfum, but the intensity of the Parfum is super louder. And I don't know if that's just because this has been around in the bottle for a while, but it should have gotten a bit more denser, a bit more concentrated since it is setting, but it's projecting like crazy here, and I so super love it. Anyway, that's my thoughts. As I said, if you have any questions or comments, please list below. Don't forget to stick around after the outro for this fragrance, Oud Voyager, which launches, I was told, the beginning of September. But if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe to the channel by clicking the bell icon as well, so you'll be notified for all future videos. And please don't forget to give a thumbs up for this video so that it'll help with the algorithm. See you guys later. Bye-bye. All right, guys, this is a quick first impressions for Tom Ford's Oud Voyager, which is launching probably at the end of this month or September 1st is what I was told. But just at the end of this month, we will have, I think it's Labor Day, and I think this launches just on Labor Day. September 1st is Labor Day. But Oud Voyager is part of the private blend collection, featuring notes of oud, patchouli, cypriol, pink pepper, red peony, saffron, cardamom, geranium absolute, vetiver, citrus notes, and musk. So in the end, it's oud, right? There's a little bit of a floral touch, but it's not focusing on the rose. It does get floral, but it's not all about the rose. So there's other flowers playing around with the oud. Plus there's a lot of patchouli in this as well. But on this strip, you're picking up the cypriol. The cypriol always reminds me of the Oud Silk Mood, because that fragrance also has it. Probably has papyrus, but they're kind of similar smelling ingredients. But sometimes oud, and again, this is not a Middle Eastern true oud. This is an oud accord. And sometimes oud fragrances come off harsh and intense. There's a softness about this, not necessarily in the concentration. Softness in the way it's blended. So there's a smoothness about it. Major earthiness and woodiness about it, but still a lot of flowers, warm spices, and of course the oud accord in here. I think this will be a hit, personally. I think we're kind of past the slump of Tom Ford's boring fragrance phases, like, you know, Rose Exposed, what a boring fragrance it was. Bois Pacifique, boring. This is a bit more exciting for me. I would totally wear this, but as it's developing on the strip, the Cypriol is getting stronger and stronger. And if you guys don't know Cypriol, it's like an earthy note, kind of connected to similar to papyrus. And it's to me, it's like the smell of vetiver with a little bit of patchouli's earthiness and a lot of woods together. So it's a bit grassy, it's earthy, it's woody, and sometimes a bit fermented, because a lot of times they add this note to give you this kind of a booziness, but also they trick you sometimes with Cypriol, and kind of people think it smells a bit oudy as well. So sometimes if brands are saying oud, but it's an oud accord, I believe they're putting in a lot of Cypriol to make it smell like a Western oud. Again, this is not a Middle Eastern oud. No way, it doesn't smell like it. It's an oud accord. This is a little more exciting than Tom Ford's Oud Wood. I think this could be pretty popular if people are still into oud. Let me know. Let me ask you guys, are you into oud? Do add a comment below and let me know. So those are my thoughts on Oud Voyager for now. I'm sure you'll be hearing a lot more about this when it's launching. But let me know if you're excited for Oud Voyager. Let me know if you're excited for Black Orchid Reserve. Add a comment below, and see you guys later.